structured and how it works for the nation from the central government. We have the Prime Minister talking to us, we have the Finance Minister, Commerce Minister. A lot of the ministers take a lot of ownership of the tax, and so they talk to us through various public fora about it. But the thing is that GST is as much a baby of the states as it is of the center. And the GST Council is one of the true federal bodies that has representation from each and every state along with the center. And so it is absolutely crucial for us to hear from the states as well about what they think about GST, what their issues are, what is working, what is not working. And so towards that, our two guests here are absolutely perfect. So thank you again, both of you, for joining us. So I will leap in. Oh, and one more thing. Notably, our two guests were two of the finance ministers amongst the 8 who wrote to the GST Council asking for compensation for all the states. You know, if the rate rationalization happens and revenue falls, then they argued for compensation for the states. So they raised their voices on behalf of all the states. So it's absolutely a real privilege for all of us to have both of you here. But I'll look a little back in history first before we get to the rate rationalization and all of that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the last 8 years of GST up to September 22nd? And now post September 22nd, how would you rate it out of 1 to 10? I'll start with you, sir. Either one of you, please. Is it on? Yeah, this one.
2022, because of the end of compensation period, that may be the reason of ranking, no?
Right.
Because by 2022, July 1st, the initial 5 years of the GST period was over. Up to that time, there was a compensation as assured by the GST Council. They said that states will be protected, will get protected revenue at a rate of 14% annual growth.
Yes.
So up to that time, it was very good, like very good honeymoon. And after very good honeymoon of GST, after that period, really the difficulty came in front of the states. For example, Kerala, I can say, if the protected revenue as GST Council suggested, it was only up to 5 years, they said that after 5 years everything will be okay. And if that protected revenue type of growth was there, Kerala would have received 54,000 crore last year.
Okay.
But actually we got 32,500 crores. So very simple, this is the post 22 and pre 22 picture. And the subsumed tax portion is coming as GST. Mm-hmm. And if the subsumed tax portion, if it was not coming under GST, or if GST system was not introduced, our growth rate annually was around more than 12%, 12 to 14%. Almost all states. For Telangana it may be more, Karnataka it was higher. But if it was the earlier rate, Kerala would have received 51,500 crores by the end of last financial year alone. So if earlier what was there, we would have received 51,000. If the protected revenue as per the condition 14% per year increase growth, it was 54,000. But actually we got 32,000. 20,000 crore, 22,000 crores is less than the expected GST. And this is the picture. So this shows everything.
So if before 2022 you say was a wonderful honeymoon period, let's say that was 8 out of 10, how much worse is it now? Would you say 6, 4 out of 10?
It is less than 5.
Less than 5.
Because if your revenue has gone like that, then what is the ranking? What is the benefit? I
Right.
don't think that there is no question of any ranking now, because it's very poor, I can say.
Right. And Mr. Mallu, you agree with this assessment?
Yeah, first of all, let me thank you for inviting us to this
Of course.
program. Yes, the GST period, what the government of India has assured to the states that they will get 14% tax. As against the pre-GST, it used to be somewhere around 14 to 18% to the respective states. But during the period of GST, though they might be, the assurance by the government of India, all the states will get 14%. If they don't get, they will compensate it by contributing to the extent of 40%. But by the end of this, what you have realized, forget about 18%, that you have not stabilized 14% in this 5 years. It is somewhere around landing between 7 to 8%. That means whatever they have assessed on the name of GST, within 5 years it will get stabilized, it will touch 14%, which is not happening. First, the government of India has to realize this. So whatever their assessment is failed. And now, even that 14% also will not be there in future.
Right.
So that means states will end up at 7 to 8%. So the GST period, whatever we have seen till today, is not that great as expected.
Okay.
So government also has to rethink about the whole system. How you envisage the revenues, why it is not reaching. If it is not reaching, how the states are going to face this problem.
Okay. And so, Mr. Mallu, I'll ask you again, and then Mr. Balagopal, you can take it forward. The 5-year period, the idea behind it was that 5 years, within these 5 years, the states would also be able to strengthen their own tax revenue. The non-GST revenue, other sources of revenue, they'd be able to strengthen, so they won't have to depend on compensation so much. So what has gone wrong there?
No, it is not like that. The government of India, they said, by 5 years, within this 5 years, it will get stabilized. It might be in the beginning, you might not get 14%. So to the extent of 5 years, we will see to that we will compensate. In these 5 years, you will get strengthened and automatically you will get the 40%.
Right.
Which is not happening.
Which is not.
And whatever the states have to generate their taxation, which is not there with them. The pre-GST period, whatever is to be their taxation, like VAT, outright or entertainment tax, all those taxes are brought under one tax system, GST, except 1 or 2 state excise and petroleum products. There is nothing much left for the states to increase their taxation or their revenues. Everything is in the hands of the center now.
Right. So, Mr. Balagopal, then is it fair to say that GST has made the states too fiscally dependent on the center?
See, basically, what is the actual expenditure of that country? Who is spending like that? That is very important. See, out of the total expenditure, as per the 15th Finance Commission report, says that around 64% of the total expenditure of entire government is borne by the state governments.
Right.
Okay. And they are saying that out of the total revenue of the government all over India, around 63-64% is coming to the union. Means this, so 2/3 of the expenditure states have to bear, but 2/3 of the income is coming to the union. So then the duty question, everything is coming. So now when the GST issue latest things came, we 8 states had a joint meeting. Actually, this is anything, because in the GST Council we are not behaving like opposition and ruling.
Right.
if we are in the parliament or assembly, we will speak something, some different way. But it is when it's a joint thing, it's a collective thing. So what we were interested to speak is that just these are the situations. So you please look into this. And we said total revenue, out of the total revenue now, 40% of the state revenue is coming from GSTs on an average. But for center, GST is a small part. They have all other receipts. You said asked about the capacity or efficiency of the taxation system in the state. What we can collect? Now we have only petroleum, petrol, diesel. We have only liquor. You cannot compel everyone to drink liquor. You cannot increase the prices like that. So and if your price of liquor is going up, then the drug issue, narcotic issue is there. So we cannot do like that. Then petroleum, nowadays electronic EVs new policy is there. Actually the consumption of petroleum goods, diesel and petrol is coming down. So nothing is.
I need peaceful sleep, Rexa.
Not in my job description.
जब जब इस धरती पर कोई peacefully नहीं सोता, I'll be there. The sleep
Was introduced, 44% of the state's income was given to the GST, and only 28% of the union's revenue was or taxation right was given to the GST. So then anyway historically it's done 50-50. When the GST revenue is coming, we are sharing 50-50.
Yes.
But actually it should be like 60-40 because 44% of your income already left. And all the revenue which is going to the union pool now. So something like our honorable DCM said, we have to look into the system in a very deeper, in a very serious way. Otherwise, depending, you ask that whether the state government has to depend the center more and more. That
Yes.
means there one question comes. What is cooperative federalism? See, India is a union of states.
Right.
States and center, if the state governments are not happy and they are not capable to do things by their own, means because there were rights, even India is a union when there are more than 500 countries were there. Tax is the basic right of every small, even small country or state, whatever it is. And if all the taxation powers is snatched and you are at the mercy of the union government, that will not be good for the health of the country.
And
Actually,
is that happening?
Strong center-state relationship, states and center should cooperate in a proper way.
Absolutely. So you feel that there is this overwhelming dependence that has come in post GST of the states on the center?
Yes, it is actually, and states are in a difficult position. That is why Telangana, their growth rate was much higher, and now they are facing, Andhra facing. It's not a question of whether BJP ruled states or non-BJP ruled states. Kerala is facing, every state government is facing this, and now the latest GST reorganization, restructuring. We all supported that because we were for rate rationalization, but we only said two things. One is the revenues, the impact of the discount or rate cut should go to the common people, because earlier practice was not there, it was not happened continuously. After 3 months, 6 months, the prices will go up. This is one danger. Second thing is how the state governments will continue, how the revenue, that we have to take some kind of mechanism to protect the revenue. Only these two things we said, nothing
Right.
else. And there's no assurance, no discussion. And I was in the rate rationalization committee for last 3-4 years, 3.5 years. Bommeji, when he was the Chief Minister of Karnataka, BJP government, he was the chairman. Later now, Bihar DCM is the chairman. All the detailed study reports generally when we were sitting in the meeting, all the detailed study report used to come. This time no report, only union suggestion like that. Okay. So that way detailed analysis was not done. And how much is the loss? There's no clear picture. We calculated that for Kerala we are going to use around 8,000 to 10,000. Every state have their own calculation. So total all India, what is the total reduction? The actual picture is not there. That also, without that picture, we are doing these things. These are the criticism we raised, but it is not seriously addressed.
Right. So I was actually going to come to the amount of revenue loss, because the central government has said that for this year it will be about 48,000 crore in total, whereas the Chief Minister of West Bengal, for example, has said it will be 20,000 crore just for West Bengal. You are saying 8,000 to 10,000 crore for Kerala, Mr. Mallu.
I think somewhere around 7,000 crores. No, the loss of the rates rationalization, the assessment varies from one organization to the other organization, right from Government of India onwards. The Government of India is saying somewhere around 40,000 crores. But various associations who are deep into the study on the taxation system and GST, someone said 1,40,000 crores, someone said 2,40,000 crores, something like that. You know, you don't know exactly how it is going to affect. This is what we have asked even in the GST Council meeting also. But somehow rationalization on the taxation, at the same time proper assessment on the revenue
Right.
is not properly done so far.
Okay, so then Mr. Mallu, again I'll come back to you. You've raised some issues to do with the GST Council, that these assessments weren't done, there was no discussion on how states would be compensated. But what we've heard from all of the press conferences that happen after each GST Council meeting, 56 meetings have happened so far, hundreds of decisions have been taken, and I think only 2 came up for vote, which means all the rest of them were by consensus. But if this was by consensus, then does that imply that finally all of you agreed to the fact that the states would not be compensated? How does that work?
No, there are 2 issues in this. One is rates rationalization. So slab system, like, bringing from 12 to 5, 28 to 18. This slab system, unanimously, we all agreed on that particular issue. The rest of the issue, like, what all that you are losing, the revenues for the states. For example, Telangana, we are losing somewhere around 6,500 crores to 7,000 crores. A state like Telangana, see, in the budget preparation and all that, keeping all these revenues, we have designed so many welfare schemes and developmental activities and all that. Suddenly, in between, if this 6,500 crores to 7,000 crores, the revenue comes down, then all these things will get, halt, like, taking out one brick, the whole thing will collapse. Right. So that's where we all asked for the compensation, like what they were showed earlier, the first 5 years. If you don't touch the 14%, the rest, the compensation will be given and all. On the same lines, now, anyway, that 14%, it is not stabilized. Apart from that, with this rates ratio is still falling down.
Correct.
So obviously, if you don't think of some other mechanism to compensate that loss, then it will have a serious problem on the respective states, not only Telangana, or Kerala, or Tamil Nadu, or Andhra Pradesh. All of the country, all the states will have the same kind of problem. So we have deliberated on a long hours, but finally, fine, the GST Council, as my senior colleagues saying, like, it is not an assembly or a parliament. It is something like, most of the issues are a debate, the consensus decisions is to be taken. Finally, we taken the rationalization and the composition also, we made it a representation. Finally.
So, Mr. Balagopal, then what was the centre's reaction when you said that we need compensation? How did the centre react? Was it positive, negative, or did they say we will consider it, but then they did nothing? How did it go?
Actually, in the agenda, the compensation question was also there, because in the last there was a group of ministers on compensation, there was a group of ministers on rate rationalization, like that, then insurance. So this issue was there, but that agenda they were not discussed that way. But we gave our speeches, we gave our note also. This is our idea, and and each and every state have their own differences also on some kind of new points may be there. For example, Kerala's stand always is like this in these meetings. High-end luxury items can be taxed more, and low common man item can be subsidized. That is the general thing about the taxation. That is a taxation principle generally. But here, based on that, there was no difference, and none of us said that rationalization should not be there. All of us said that rationalization should be there,
Right.
and we have some suggestions. We said in the statements after this by the union government also, you can even ascertain the tax incidence will be same. For example, cigarette, tobacco, chewing tobacco, or any other tobacco. The maximum rate as per GST is 40%.
40%, yeah.
It will be collected by the states. But the incidence of collecting it like 89%, 90% or 120%, like it is there. It will continue. Like aerated drinks, like other some items. For some time, this compensation will continue now, because the compensation loan was taken, so they want to pay it back. Yes. And after that also, it was discussed there that that particular rate, that tax incidence will continue, because cigarette you cannot reduce it like that. So there will be around 80,000 to 1 lakh crore rupees in that kitty. Means above 40%. It is not decided whether center will take it or state will take it, because historically or naturally, whenever earlier finance ministers used to go to the assembly for bringing or presenting the budget, generally newspapers were right there whether this time the sugar may be bitter taste because and tobacco, whether tobacco prices may go high like that earlier.
Yes.
Now all the right was with the states. Now the tobacco and other sin goods, that particular percentage of tax incidence is with the sender. Whether it will be the sender or whether it will be with the states or some kind of special cess or levy can be done, that is not discussed. We suggested that part is there. So around 1 lakh crore rupees will be there. So that can be used for the compensation. Anyway,
Absolutely.
that tax is there. That nothing was discussed about that. So when you are giving this kind of a reduction, okay, but this 1 lakh crore rupees or whatever it is, that can be already which is collecting, which used to collect and continue to collect. That money can be used for helping the states. Otherwise, states will be in difficulty. And when you are reducing you can get a mobile phone with 10,000.
Data science and analytics are not the trends of the future. They're happening right now. So having this
Revision for 10,000 rupees less. But if your salary is not coming from the state government, how can you purchase? See, if public finances is going down like that, and if the state governments are in difficulty, all the area of expenditure will be affected. So if you are not getting, if the advertisement is coming less, newspapers also will be affected. So everywhere this effect will be there. So the income and public finance is very important. That's what we said about that.
No, absolutely. And now the thing is that when we first got the notification about this GST Council meeting, we were told that it would be on 3rd and 4th. But then the meeting was concluded on one day. At the end of the day, there was a press conferences. So yes, Mr. Mallu, if you could tell us what happened.
We all expected that today, and for me, but the Thiruvanam and Uttaradam is very important for Kerala, that Onam. And the first Onam is 4th. We were ready to be, we were staying here, our ticket was purchased for, because Onam even, we decided that this is a very important meeting, and Onam, we were here. But immediately it was controlled
Right.
first.
See, as my friend says, the cess about sharing of the revenue. In the name of the GST, the taxation is to be shared between the states and center, equal, mostly. How do we split? 50-50, and out of 50, whatever the center is getting, 41% to the states. Fine, there is another collection of money that's on the name of cess. That is to be given to the states on the name of compensation. Now they announced, as he made it very clear, that compensation stopped. But the collection on cess on these sin goods like pan para, tobacco or other products, that they have not said to whom that they are going to give. They are going to keep with the center, or they are going to share with states. Sharing with the states, they said no. But if that happens, definitely the injustice to the states is going to take place. Whatever you are collecting, it has to be shared. But here in this part, they are not mentioned. That's where many of the states, when they are talking that the states are losing, some of them are saying, center is also losing. Center is not losing. Center is continuing to collect these cess on the name of these sin goods. So they are gaining, states are losing. This is one aspect. The other point, what you asked us, like 2 days they mentioned why
Right.
only. So that day from morning to evening, it went up to, I think, very late hours in the
Yes.
evening. Since the debate has continued and the entire GST council members have come to conclude it. So then, second day has not come into this.
Did you ask for the second day to happen? Because that might have involved discussions
No,
on
the same
compensation.
day itself took long hours for the debate.
Right,
So second day's debate has taken place in the first day.
in the
itself.
first day itself. Okay.
That's how it went. Finally, of course, on racial, as we have been talking, even the Kerala government or the Congress government, our leader Rahul Gandhi, whoever, we have been talking about the rationalization of GST, like 5%, 18%, only 2 slabs has to be there and all. For that, immediately we all have agreed. The debate has taken place, how to, the loss to be compensated. But that
Okay.
only has taken for us to be there.
Right.
Finally,
So, okay, we're going to try something a little different this time in that I have one question to ask. After that, we'll take a few audience questions and then we'll come back to me. You were talking about a cess and the cess being extended. But the thing is that the compensation cess so far was being levied on items, or rather, eventually it was the public that was paying this cess and the states were getting compensated for it. The other option would be to ask the 16th Finance Commission to increase the devolution amount, which then would be the center paying the states, not really the individuals paying this. The center would collect whatever tax it was collecting. Out of that, say 50% would go to the states. But what you were asking was for an additional cess that the public would pay. Which do you feel is the superior option in terms of compensating the states?
first, let me make it very clear. Whatever you are collecting on the name of any farm, it has to be shared between the center and state, because
Right.
it is coming from the states only. Collection, whatever you are collecting, it's coming from the states. And as our great friend says, there is nothing but the country is union of states.
Right.
And we have with a lots of federal spirit. And these two things should not get affected and get disturbed. So whatever you are collecting, it has to be shared. But unfortunately, on the name of cess, what you are going to collect after this racialization, you are not made it very clear whether you are going to keep it, whether you are going to share it. That's
Right.
where we are concerned. If it is shared, and the devolution, what you are saying is also 50-50, whatever you are collecting, after collecting 50%, whatever you are collecting, there also it is a serious issues for these states like ours. For example, if you're in that 50 rupee, 50%, whatever you are giving 41% to the states, the remaining amount what you are supposed to distribute among the states,
Grants. And
on whatever it is, whatever the center is keeping with that devolution, divisible, there if you are distributing on the basis of the taxation in the respective states, whatever you are collecting, that particular state, whatever you are collected, if you distribute in that state, it's fine. but you are collecting all of the states and pooling together and distributing to the equally to the various states. So that's where the states which are giving you more tax are losing, the states which are not giving you are gaining more.
Are gaining.
For example, you know, I can give you some information.
Sure.
For example, Tamil Nadu, in a rupee, if they are giving a rupee, they are getting only 26 paisa.
After devolution.
Yeah. UP, for example, out of a rupee, they are getting 2 rupees 3 paisa.
Okay.
Karnataka, out of rupee, they are getting only 16 paisa. So Bihar, you know, well, you know, out of rupee, they are getting 6 rupees 6 paisa. And Telangana, out of rupee, we are getting only 42 paisa. Like MP, out of rupee, they are getting 1 rupee 73 paisa. Kerala, out of rupee, they are getting only 49 paisa. So Rajasthan, they are getting 1 rupee 14 paisa out of 1 rupee. So this kind of variation is causing the heartburn to the states who are paying more tax to the country. So it has been a request among the various states to distribute it, whatever you are collecting the revenue or tax from those states, you distribute it on the same line.
In that proportion.
Yeah.
I see.
See, because there you have various, you know, each state is having its own priorities and requirements. For example, Jammu and Kashmir is having its own, you know, resources, priorities, and the requirements also. For example, Tamil Nadu and Kerala and Karnataka, if you see, it has its own geographical conditions, it has its own requirements and demands. Same thing cannot be, you know, designed, Kashmir and Kanyakumari.
Right.
So there, because of various foresight or whatever it is, because of the development or infrastructure kind of, are making the machinery to collect taxes perfectly, you are getting more. So you have to share it on the same lines.
I understand. Now, yes, we can take the audience questions now. Yeah.
So both of you have to find money for the various welfare schemes that your respective state governments implement. So now, when it comes so both of you, as finance ministers of your states, you also have to find money for the numerous welfare schemes that you implement. Now, in the administration and design of these welfare schemes also, we've been reporting on a lot of changes. In some cases, Tamil Nadu government, for example, is fighting a battle in Supreme Court about education-related fund stoppages by the central government. And there are other things about the health schemes, the renaming or repackaging of the primary health center as Ayushman Arogya Mandir. So a lot of issues related to welfare schemes. It's funding by the central government, and the share that the state government has to contribute to that thing. So how do you balance? What are the issues that are at play in terms of the state government's ambitions to have their own welfare schemes? Now that you mentioned each state has its own priority. So what are the issues that you confront in that area? Both of you, if you could address.
Yes. In fact, we all represented also in the GST Council meeting, because welfare schemes, those schemes are also varies from state to state. For example, as I said, now in Kashmir, you require, because of the cold climate, a different kind of welfare schemes they require for them. And the same lines for the state like Telangana or any other southern states or Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, they require their own different kind of welfare schemes. Some states might be requiring more on education, some states might be requiring more on health, some states might be requiring more on housing and shelter, some states might be requiring more on other educational integrated residential schools kind of a support system. So basing on their geographical conditions and requirements, the states will design their own welfare programs. The same welfare program, whatever suits to Kashmir, if you give it to the same welfare.
Have you ever asked yourself why you feel confused all the time, even for a smallest decision?
That scheme may not be useful to me, but still you are asking me to, take that 60-40 scheme, centrally sponsored scheme. You pay your 40%, I'll give you 60%. So you should allow the states to design their own welfare schemes. Fine, we are not asking the more money or extra money. With the same money, whatever you want to give on the name of centrally sponsored schemes, you allow the respective states to design as per their own requirement and suits to them.
Right.
I had a question.
No, the same question.
Oh, yes.
See, we always know that equity and performance both should be considered. See, the states which are not developed like that, they have to be given support from the fund, the union's fund. And the economic engines are very important. See, for example, Mumbai, Delhi, or Chennai, Hyderabad, or any other city, they are making more economic activity, more fund. Like some states are making more. So now they are saying that, oh, Kerala education, it is developed, so we will give you for the. They are giving some money for making schools, means first generation issues. Now in Kerala we have 13,600 schools, and if they are giving money for making some kitchens or classrooms, it is not necessary. We want, actually all these states have second generation issues. So according to the situation, you cannot make a ready-made shirt for the entire country to wear. You have to give clothes. I will stitch my own shirt, and somebody will be a big person, he can make his own. So that freedom should be there. Actually, this is a very serious issue. This is one thing. And like the total revenue, how much it is distributed, it is already very clearly said here. We are saying that we have to depend on the center. How you are collecting all the money and keep it in your hand and saying that I will spare you 1 rupee, 2 rupee. No, because it's a collective, it's a fund of the entire people, entire country. So that right should be there. You are taking all the rights of collection of taxes and amassing all the taxes, and we have to go for with the request, and the conditions are there because tailor-made designs are very important. So for example, NAM, like this, they are saying that in we have a housing scheme, life for everyone will get a house like that. But there are some conditions in NAM, this Ayush mission or the health system, they have to write like this. Some conditions are coming. Education, we are not getting 1,500 crores rupees are owing from the union. So we are not getting that. These issues are very much, and especially this is for the states which is already have something. So more and more fund is needed there for developing the country. Then the economic activity will accelerate the economic activities of the entire country. That planning should be there. That's
Right.
I have one question. It's a bit political. I was told that, there is a feeling that producing states feel at a disadvantage with regard to the GST regime. And there are states which are ruled by the BJP which also share your concerns, but are unable to, of course, articulate them in quite the way that opposition ruled states can do, or you people can do within that. Have any of them approached you to speak on their behalf as well?
See, that's a very, very good question. And whatever we discussed inside the meeting or personally, that it is not proper to divulge it here. But many of the states, they said about their losses. They said that some states asked for a special package. We will not share the name of the states. BJP rules. Because every state is having this problem. So they were also saying about, in the initial discussion, group of ministers, they were saying that, and when final GST council, generally they were, because it's a political decision from their part. So it's an issue, serious issue for almost every state. It's a serious issue for every state. All the participants who were there, they were saying personally to us also, because this is a very serious situation. How we will run the state in the coming days? Serious concern is there.
Sir, good afternoon. Shishir here from Into Business Line. Sir, I have two questions. One, you talked about the Compensation Cess Act. I believe the sunset date for that act is March 31st, 2026. And before that, as soon as the back-to-back loan is repaid, then the cess will automatically be stopped. And there was also a consensus among all the states and the center as well that the whatsoever excess money over and above the back-to-back loan, that will be distributed between center and the state in the equal proportion. That's a 50 to 50%. You are saying that 1 lakh crore is going to be retained by the center. So what was that decision of 50% sharing between the center and the state? And my second question, sir, since the provision under GST law is very clear that there cannot be cess, because under the article of the Constitution 270 and 280 and 281, cess cannot be shared with the state. So are you looking for amendment of section 9C of CGST Act so that there should be an enabling provision of higher taxation rate, which is at present is a 40%. So these are my two questions. Thank you. Yeah, please, sir.
There are two questions, sir. The first question, I'm making very clear that we are talking about what you mentioned about the continuation of the cess, or asking us to, questioning us as if that we are demanding for them to enact to continue the cess. Both we are not saying.
No, I didn't ask, sir. I said that if the compensation cess, which is having the sunset clause of March 31st, 2026.
Fine, we agreed for that.
And the second part.
We agreed for that. We agreed for that. But after that, we also asked in the meeting some of the sin goods, whatever the price, like more than 28%, which has come down to 18%. Now some of the goods on the name of sin goods, the tax that they are going to collect, even more than nearing about 40% or even more than that, which that they have not made it very clear that they are going to stop it. That is what we have asked. Are you going to continue it? Are you going to stop it? So there was no answer. So it is implied that they are going to continue it. And what are you going to do with that money? That is what we asked. No answer for that. That is what our friends said. Yeah.
What about the second question, that in case, because the cess cannot be levied under the GST, so are you looking for enabling provision under the GST?
Will you be amending the CGST Act?
See, we are asking, yes. See, while keeping the GST itself, you assured the country, to the states, that your revenue will not get disturbed, like pre-GST, like whatever it is to be there, like 18%. At the most, it takes 5 years to get stabilized. For that, only we are trying to levy the cess and give you the compensation. But after 5 years, we all have realized it is not stabilized. That means whatever you have on the name of bringing the entire country on GST is not materialized and realized. So now you have to rethink about it. What best that you can how best that you can compensate that, since the 5 years period is not realized. So you have to rethink how best, either on the name of cess or in the name of, like as our friend said, instead of 50-50, 60-40 or something like that. You have to, it is the duty of the government of India to think about the state's problems and issues also.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, sir. Sir, I will take you away from the GST Council and discussion on GST. I have a very simple question. The simultaneous election bill is pending in front of the Parliament, and one of the argument made for simultaneous election is that it will bring down the expenditure, government expenditure, if we have synchronized election cycles. Since we have two finance ministers of two states, what is your opinion on this?
It's a very lengthy answer you require. It all depends upon one election. The elections for the general elections for the Lok Sabha, general elections for the state, and the elections for the local bodies, all these things, generally it working against the governments to cross-check also, more or less. So the political parties in this parliamentary democracy, generally the political parties always, while taking the decisions, they'll keep in mind the public, whether they go for the, while casting their vote, whether they vote for us or not. If you do any misdeeds or wrong things or excess taxation or whatever. So these elections in 5 years, in this full term also, they are something like, acting like a counterbalance, checking measures. So I feel personally, it is not good to have the elections at a time, one election at a time. As a individual citizen, I feel, if it takes place in 5 years, that I don't have anything to cross-check also. So I do whatever I feel like doing. It is not good for the common man. That's what I feel.
Mr. Balagopal, how would you like to respond to the same question?
See, why this, the demand for one country, one election, or one election at the same time, why it is coming? See, all these things are coming with some kind of political intention. That is what is there. See, the money which we are spending, how much money we are spending for many other things, because each and every state have its own state elections are something different, union election is something different. Clubbing the union election with the state election is some agenda may be there. So assessing the state separately is very important, and the money we are spending for election, in that way it is not a huge amount. So some political agenda is there. So now the big question about the SIR is there, other election voters list question is there. So many discussions are going on there. So it is not a proper time to go for this kind of a one election, because even in the system which is continuing in the country, we are not able to convince the people about the complaints coming recently about all these areas. Like even in Kerala, Thrissur, last Lok Sabha election, one constituency, lot of vote in a single residential address, 70 vote or 80 vote in a house, like that. Many questions are coming about the existing voters list. So it is not a proper time. We are not that way very matured, or we are not very clear about the system. So it is not proper to do that thing.
Okay, we'll take just a few more. So yes, over here.
I wanted to bring you back to a micro level implementation of this. So my question is on the input tax credit. Do we have any system or provision for readjustment or refund for old stocks for traders?
See, we will collectively say that as far as this information, some GST circular came that it will be new prices should be pasted there like that, and they said that there can be a provision for this input credit. Later now you sell for this price, and later you can use the input credit for the future actions. That is what. But a lot of confusion is there. Actually, the Central Secretariat how to do that. For example, some items are zero now. Some items are zero tax. Then from where you can reduce the input? So it's a complex issue. We cannot say very simply from that. Last time one automobile dealer telephoned me, requested that you have to get some clarification from the GST Council, because they paid already that higher cess already, some crores of rupees they had to pay. So how we will get it back like that? Then for them, at least there is some input credit issue can be used. So this is a complex issue. That is why I said, see, generally this rate rationalization is a very serious issue. Around 22 lakh crores is the annual collection under GST. Such a decision needs a lot of study. Like this demonetization, like that. Immediately, if we are going for such a decision, many kind of this kind of technical issue may come. That is why we said proper homework was not done by the Central Secretariat, the GST Secretariat. So it was not there. So we are also facing this kind of questions or problems. We think that the GST Secretariat can do something about that. So lot of some confusion is there. Questions are coming.
So I'm Jagrati. I write on air travel, and I have question on airports and air connectivity. I mean, in Telangana, there are plans for new airports. Recently, Mamnoor Airport got center's permission, and several other airports, older unused airstrips are being developed. I wondered, can you speak about the plans for improved connectivity? And there's also a challenge. Will you get enough passenger demand to cater to these new airports, given that international airlines are not able to provide improved connectivity because bilateral constraints are there? There are players like Emirates that want to fly both to Telangana as well as Kerala. In Kerala, a similar demand is for Kannur Airport. Are you raising this issue of bilateral revision? And in the absence of that, how will you fill up these airports? And similarly for Kerala, I mean, are you having a dialogue with the centre on the need for revising?
Point of call issue.
Yes, sir.
Kannur, I can say that point of call announcement is necessary for bringing international airlines to that particular point. Kannur, we have all the basic thing is there, and our domestic airlines are flying abroad, but now international carrier is coming there. And more than that, our international passengers are there. Many people are working in US or Europe and many other countries. But that much international flights are not coming because of bilateral. Not only Emirates and all, even the other international European airlines are there. That kind of big number of airlines are not coming. Exactly these new airports, I don't know about the questions you raised. That.
Yeah, for example, Mamnoor Airport. For a state like Telangana, Hyderabad International Airport is catering the needs of everything, because wherever from Hyderabad you can reach in 2.5 hours. At the maximum, two districts like Adilabad and Khammam might take around 3.5 hours. So the Mamnoor Airport, of course, my Chief Minister Sri Revanth Reddy and myself met Union Aviation Minister personally. Not only that, even Kothagudem Bhadrachalam Airport also we asked. We are trying our level best to continuously to communicate with the Government of India to get those sanctions. And we believe the air connectivity also has to be increased more and more. The connectivity will definitely attract the investments. People will come and try to invest, and which leads to the growth of the economic growth of the states also. Thank you.
Great. One last.
Sir,
Okay.
So I have one question each to both the ministers. Like you had talked about the revenue expenditure which is coming down. There is a possibility of a decrease in revenue. I mean tax collection. So now another issue is non-tax revenues. Like see, $20 billion was the export from Telangana alone to particularly US countries like US. So there is a threat of embargoes, all these things. So do you have a backup plan on this issue? My question to Comrade Balagopal is that, see, you have been a member of this GST Select Committee. So a decade ago, I remember you telling us that if GST is allowed to implement in this way, the country will go like a Greece situation, and the states will have to go to the center with a begging bowl. So, but both of us saying that it's almost coming true that states will have no. So, can the GST council mechanism continue in this manner, where the center has a weightage in taking decision?
GST Select Committee, I was there, and at that time, very few members made a dissenting voice. It's very detailed discussion was there in the meeting, and finally, we questioned whether in US this GST type of something is there. No, European Union it is there. At that time, this BRICS issue came, Greece issue came, and in US it is not there. So US is advanced. They have a very good system in the country. Even US is not having this one country, one tax. Why we are going for this? So there was no proper answer. And because of the studies of Greece and other things, I in the dissent also I said that now the finance ministers of the states will become only cautious, just giving the money which is coming, and states have to come to the center with the begging bowls. The first question started from that. Yes. Begging bowl is not there, but you have to depend more and more on the states. See, at that time I never expected that I will become a finance minister later, but now we have to settle for this kind of issues regularly. All the states are facing. So for the future of the country, some systems should be corrected, because now we are getting 41% of the center revenue for divisive pool, technically. But practically, 15th Financial Commission said that around 20% of the entire union government's revenue is coming as cess. Cess is not coming in the divisive pool. So practically, instead of 41% of the total central revenue for states as divisive pool, practically it is only around 30% or 32%, because that is not coming. So this issue is very serious, and when the power lies with the union, even the voting right in the GST council is also not balanced. Always the power will be with the union, and natural also, and justice will not be happening. So we have to show the country that justice is there, all are getting equal representation, all the states. I am not saying about the BJP's or the center, the party which is ruling the center on other parties, opposition parties. If the feeling of equal treatment to the states and right of the states are not protected, like our Deputy CM said, the feeling will not be there, because GST, if you ask me openly whether the GST will be helpful in the future, if this is continuing like this, then I will say that this kind of GST is not helpful for the country, not for the state, for the country. So if all the states are saying like that later, if they are feeling like that, it will not be good for the country. So there is a systemic problem in the GST system, and practically, administratively, this is not considering states at par with the center, means the right, in the question of rights. So this is a very serious political question, not only about a particular party in power or not. It's a question of federalism of the country.
Sharad, I have a question.
Yes.
I have one question.
Oh no, wait.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Please, sir.
See, I fully agree with my friend. The dependency. So I don't want to use the begging bowl, but dependency on the center for the states have increased with the GST system, because the entire collection is coming to center, and from the center it is coming. So obviously you are forced to depend upon them. So the second point, in the tax collection, on the name of cess, which is not 18 to 20% of the revenue on the taxation, it is coming from nearing 18 to 20% from the cess. That cess is not divisible, it is with the center. But of course it is collecting from all the states. So we are not getting anything. So we are forced to stand in front of them, obviously with the representations. The other thing, like recent developments, but here also I missed the question that the ITC, input trading. So generally, earlier olden days, while presenting the budget, if budget paper leaks, the entire budget is to be cancelled or the cabinet is to be dissolved. The reason is, before presenting the budget, if the taxation and the system, it comes to know that industry will make use of that for their own purpose. But now what has happened, suddenly our Prime Minister has announced on August 15th, the slab system, whatever. And that too without much discussion in the GST Council. GST Council is fully filled with full of Government of India offices only. There is no share from the states in the GST Council Secretariat. So whatever the GST Council Secretariat decides on their designs, it is coming out without, if the states representation is also there in the GST Council Secretariat, then the equal distribution and discussion would have been taken place, and the input credit kind of a thing, what is to be done, suddenly if this takes place, can be known to even the states also. Now it is utter chaos. And the second question, like export, the problem, like Trump or US. Yeah, it definitely affecting more and more on coastal area states, like marine products. You are bound to face it for some time. So suddenly in between, middle of the year, you don't have anything to plan it out, to add taxation or cut the taxation, and whatever you want to put on that also has to be decided by the GST Council, not the affected states. That is where, each state is having its own problem. So if it is with the states, like pre-GST period, states would have been planned their own the issues, and taxation could have been compensated and survived. But now it is not taking place. That's where the whole problem is lying now.
Sir, thank you. I'm Sandeep Thukan. I write on politics, especially your party, Congress Party. I have a couple of questions for you, since you're coming straight from Patna after taking part in the extended committee of the extended Congress Working Committee. The last time such a meeting took place in Hyderabad, Congress came to power. You actually removed KCR
in the same month.
Yeah,
in the same month.
Yes. This time you've again taken your message to the people of Bihar on the issue of special intensive revision of electoral rolls. Also, very importantly, you have actually reached out to a constituency of Mr. Nitish Kumar, EPC. You have taken out a 10-point resolution on extremely backward classes. This is after your emphasis on caste survey. Bihar is one state where the caste survey has already happened. Congress talks about Telangana model. What can the Telangana government bring to the table in terms of those 10-point resolution and your outreach to the EBC class? And my second question to Mr. Balagopal, good to see him in a new role. We've covered him as a member of parliament, as finance minister of Kerala. Both of you often take a similar position on the issue of taxes in GST Council. How difficult will it be for you to fight against each other in next year's assembly elections in Kerala? First to you, sir.
Yeah, the caste survey.
And the Telangana model, how it can help.
In fact, as also holding planning department, the caste survey, what we have done in Telangana through my department only. Socio-economic political education caste survey. It is not just only the number of on caste. It is also other aspects also. Basing on that political, caste survey, we have already passed the bill also in the Assembly, Telangana. We brought out reservation for the OBCs for 42%. in local body elections, and also even in education and employment also. Apart from that, other their OBCs, backwardness in the education, employment, and political opportunities, and all those things are also studied and surveyed and kept in that. So we are going ahead with the available statistics. We wanted to equally share the resources to the people as per the proportion to the population. Same thing, in Bihar also, yesterday, the CWC meeting. In fact, the caste survey, it has been started by our leader, Sri Rahul Gandhi ji. During our general elections also in the month of September after CWC meeting in Hyderabad, during our general election campaign, he assured the people of Telangana saying that we are coming to power. The moment we come to power, we will definitely do the caste survey, start from Telangana itself. So basing on his assurance and our commitment to the people, what we have given a word, we did that and we have completed that and we have announced and placed it in the assembly also. Now in Bihar also, Rahulji and the Congress party assured the people of Bihar, proportionate to the population, the benefits will be distributed. The way we have conducted CWC meeting in Telangana in the month of September and more or less in the same dates, 23rd. On the same lines, yesterday in Bihar has taken place. Obviously, we are also thinking that in Bihar also we will win the elections.
Mr. Balagopal.
Not only Kerala, Trinamool Congress was there in the 8 states. Kerala, yes, we have the opposition party is Congress and we are in the government now. So Congress party and we and other parties, 8 parties, because 3 Congress state governments are there, and DMK, Tamil Nadu government was there, Punjab, Aam Aadmi, then West Bengal, Trinamool is there, and from Jharkhand. So different states we have different, politically we have different ideology. Yes, we are fighting in the state also. But when you are losing around, we calculated because of this policy around 50,000 crores annually Kerala is losing. And from the GST alone it is 20,000. And if our divisive pool, our finance commission percentage was once at the time of 10th finance commission it was 3.82% of the total division. From the 100 we were getting 3.82%. Last finance commission it was 2.5%, and the present finance commission we are getting only 1.92. 1.92 to 2.5, that percentage itself, there's a reduction of 8,000 crore per annum. So this kind of reduction is there. So it's a question of the state. So there is no question of whether it is opposition party or ruling party. And when the GST is affected that way, we have to fight together. But that does not mean that we are traveling with the same ideas in our day-to-day political activities in the state, because there are a lot of ideological differences that will be there. But if the state finances is affected totally, if the country's finances is affected totally, there is no question of that kind of political difference. It is not only for the state alone, for the country. We said that for protecting and strengthening the cooperative federalism, states should be protected. Center also should be strong. So if it is not there, today in one particular state, BJP may be there, like Bihar, tomorrow another government will come, may come or may, so these kind of changes will come. But the relationship with the state and center, the devolution of funds to the states, the benefit to the people, that if the political parties are not raising this issue together, that will be affected. You know that when we were in the parliament, Congress was, sometime Congress was in power, every day we were raising very serious issues, questions there. So that is, there is no dilution on any of this attitude we are taking or any kind of discussion or discourse we are doing. But at the same time, in the assembly, we will earlier also on this kind of issues like GST, compensation, division, the tax division to the state, all these questions, some kind of unanimous resolution were there in Kerala. Now also we will discuss this. I think we are planning to discuss this issue in the Kerala Assembly also. We have to report to the people because there is no question. So it's for the country, for the unity of the country, for the people of the country we are doing, and differences are differences that will be there.
Mr. DCM also could address that question. In Telangana, Congress has a very good relationship with all left parties. So how is your equation with the CPM, CPI and all in Telangana?
Fine, we are all, we believe in multi-party system and we believe in constitutional democracy. We want all the political parties to be there, to take part. We allow them to freely express their ideology. Finally, it is your ideology and your opinion have to win the hearts of the people and come to power. So we believe that.
Okay, so now when we have two state finance ministers together, of course the questions are going to be across topics and everything, but like a school teacher, I'm going to bring it back to the subject at hand. We wanted to talk to you about GST, and I just had a few more questions to do with that. The center, after these rate cuts happened, they said that it's going to be a huge boost to consumption and the economy is going to grow, and so a lot of the revenue
still see that, still we stabilize that, you have to survive.
Correct.
So in the beginning, you will get affected immediately. So you are planned as per your expected revenues. Suddenly, if you bring like this, then till you get stabilized on the name of, more sales and all that, more taxation will get, whatever it is. But till then, you have to compensate something.
Absolutely. Mr. Balagopal?
Yes, market will, there will be a boom, sure, because prices are coming down. But in a market economy, in a market, two aspects are there, 2 points are there. One, you should have a very good supply of things in the market, in the showroom, in the shop. Two is the customer who can have the purchasing power. So if your market is full of items and we people wanted to purchase that, but our income should be there.
Right.
So if the employment is affected, your public expenses and public finance is affected, unemployment is growing and the income is not coming, then your shops will be there, item will be there, who will purchase after a particular time. And if the state governments are not able to spend, because 65% of the spending to the common people is coming from the state governments. If the state government's pocket are khali, how the spending happen? Then how you will get employment, how the economic activity will come. So if that balance is not there, this kind of euphoria will be for a limited time. You cannot purchase 2 shampoos for the same day. You cannot purchase 3 cars, because more and more people should get more employment, more income, and that is very important. We are for that, because we are with the union, states are also, we wanted economic activity and growth in an accelerated form.
Right. And my final question, which I think will be very close to all of our hearts, given that you have painted such a grim picture of state finances and how they are, now the center says that they are ready to include fuel and alcohol in GST. They're saying that the states have to bring this proposal to the GST Council. Given the grim picture that you have painted, can we say that this is not going to happen anytime soon?
Now from this experience itself we know that this is not practical, because there are only 2 items with the states. See how the grim picture came. Initially in 2017-18 there was a sharp cut of items, and at that time 14.5% something was the RNR, revenue neutral rate.
Right.
100 rupees, 14.5 was the tax. Then at the time, in the eve of the Lok Sabha election, items were reduced and it came to 11.5%. And we had a study, informal study, about 24 items in the state where we found that the tax reduction was not affected in the price of the goods. Then there was an anti-profiteering committee.
Yes.
Anti-profiteering committee was later, they found that it is not functioning because many of the manufacturers are making undue influence and undue advantage of the tax reduction and they were making profit, but they were not able to stop it. Then the GST Council from the Union government suggestion it was given, the anti-profiteering aspect was given to the Competition Commission.
Right.
Competition Commission after some days they said that Competition Commission cannot look into the undue profiteering by the company. So that was continued. No price reduction happened. Now this is coming again. We fear that it is not finally technically construed like that is what is the percentage of loss. This revenue neutral rate may go up to 8% or 9% now.
Okay.
So these kind of when these kind of reductions are coming and again fuel or what alcohol and petrol, if it is going, see the same question I raised there. If the governments are non-governance or no government, it will not help the country. So revenue is very important. So I don't think that this proposition will be a feasible one, and states at present they will not think about that. And whatever the discussion in the coming days in the GST Council, I believe that surely it will take a very serious form that how the states exchequer will be strengthened because of this, the present decrease in the income. All the states will discuss, I think. The union government have to do something about the compensation, about other things. I feel like that. So then only the other areas will come.
Right. Mr. Mallu?
I don't think Centre will think on those lines because as it is, states are suffering for want of funds. The entire taxation has come into the hands of the Centre and the states are feeling that they lost their independence.
Right.
So if you push to the corner the states too much, then no wise government will think about this. Centre and state relationship is so, not only it has to be mostly the states have their own requirements and emotions also. I don't think that you'll touch the emotions of the states by tightening that they will not have any single rupee for the development of their own states, and finally you are pushing them to a corner where they'll become more emotional and
Right.
It's not a wise decision.
I understand. But on that note, I think that very neatly captures the entire afternoon's discussions, the plight of the states, the influence of the Centre, and the way forward. So thank you both so much for joining us. Thank you.